previous science educator is confronting a mind-blowing remainder in jail for purportedly drawing a 16-year-old understudy with emotional well-being issues into sex. Sandy Carasa is having to deal with government penalties, including temptation of a minor and creation of kid porn. A 35-year-old is blamed for drawing a 16-year-old kid into a sexual relationship and persuading him to show up on an X-evaluated live transfer while on a video call with her. A recently unlocked the government prosecution uncovered additional upsetting subtleties. Government investigators say the casualty was Carasa Panza's understudy from January 2022 to Walk 2023. As per the arraignment, around November 2022, the previous educator manhandled her situation as an educator by convincing him to participate in a sexual relationship with her. Examiner. She singled out the casualty for individual consideration at school and started much of the time trading instant messages with the feminist 16-year-old that turned out to be progressively sexual in nature. Kaza Pons purportedly utilized her own PDA to call message and video, call the casualty to organize sexual experiences, and over convince the young person to participate in a physically unequivocal live transfer. While on a video call, she supposedly sent the casualty physically intriguing photographs of herself alongside physically unequivocal instant messages, and after the photographs and messages were sent, she educated the high schooler to erase them in any event. Asking over and over concerning whether he did so, Kaza Pons likewise purportedly worked with the sexual experiences at school. She purportedly contacted the youngster improperly at school and persuaded the understudy to contact her genital region over her garments. The previous educator would request that the casualty meet her beyond the school's grounds to take part in sex. She requested that the understudy get day passes to leave the grounds, then would meet with the casualty off school ground, and took him to different areas including the Bronx, Yonkers, and Staten Island to have intercourse, examiners say. On numerous events, the teenager communicated he needed to cut off their sexual friendship, yet she purportedly pressured him to proceed with the alleged relationship by taking steps to eliminate school honors. Yet around February of 2023, everything would change when school authorities were made mindful that Kaza Pons was supposedly spotted off grounds with a teen in her vehicle and learned of the nearby contact showed at school. She was then ended from her occupation, landing terminated from her position. Didn't stop the previous bioteer from talking with the 16-year-old. The following month, examiners say she informed the teen during a recorded call that she was terminated. During the recorded call, the casualty found out if they were noticed having intercourse in her vehicle. While she didn't deny the two had intercourse, she told the youngster they were just seen entering her vehicle after she supposedly kept on sending messages to the adolescent, yet this time from another telephone number, and taught him to erase their messages. There was such a lot of that went through my psyche. The more I find out about this case, the seriously upsetting it becomes. Well, there's a degree of urgency related with it. There's a degree of imprudence related with what she's been doing, generally speaking. There's simply some genuine antisociality related with all that she's been doing, the culpable way of behaving, as well as a portion of the disrupting of the guidelines of, her bail and stuff like that. This is somebody who is depicted as a threat to society. The school that this youngster goes to has different issues that are related with its understudy populace, whether it's mental imbalance or a conduct disturbance of some sort or another. There are various sorts of things that these understudies have, so it's hazy what precisely it is. So having a general comprehension that any individual who goes there since they can't be mainstreamed, truly goes to the possibility that she is manipulative. She sees these people. I'm certain there are different things related with it, yet she sees these people as being simple pawns that don't grasp the outcomes of her way of behaving. Indeed, to her, she feels that they're a lot nearer in age by and large when ladies carry out these wrongdoings, particularly educators. They're typically much nearer than age than, suppose, a man with a male educator with an understudy. So to her, I believe she trusts herself to be of a similar age. I think she comprehends that she's more established, yet I think she considers herself being essential for similar age as the 16-year-old, yet generally the preparing strategies, the breaking down of these mental boundaries requires considerably more subtlety for this situation. I don't realize that it does. She might play into a portion of anything the issues could be, and we don't be aware since we don't have the foggiest idea what's the deal with the kid. It's surely conceivable that the kid is imprudent and the kid is participating in problematic way of behaving. So she's ready to sort of control those things since he's dysregulated in light of the fact that he has zero control over himself. She's ready to sort of control him significantly simpler than it would be had she been at a commonplace standard school. And, albeit the understudy over and over attempted to prevent the maltreatment from happening. Her utilizing to remove his school honors shows how coercive she was in her activities. This isn't unfathomable. I mean, regardless of whether the understudy has a psychological wellness issue. These are the sorts of things that are durable, horrible issues that happened on the grounds that they think the power figure has their well-being on the most fundamental level. I mean, she's an educator. Is there any good reason why he shouldn't trust in the things she's attempting to do? I mean, yes, sex feels better at the end of the day. He comprehended that was simply the way things should go. Now, perhaps he was unable to do it from the get-go, or perhaps he just had fun. In any case, the disgrace and responsibility related with being a casualty. A con persuaded him and superseded all the control that she and that she was attempting to do to get him into doing these ways of behaving. Dr. DeLater makes sense of quite a bit of her conduct, wasn't just off base yet enthusiastic, including controlling the understudy to show up on a X-evaluated live stream, definitely, because she didn't mind right again. This piece of the compulsivity, right? She understood what she was doing was off base. The nature, however, is that she's persuaded herself that, since he's 16, regardless of what else you understand, what different sorts of shortfalls that he could have, but since he's 16, that he can give assent, right, that she accepts that the kids' all's lives are online these days, and doing suppose just fans or doing like sex works like that isn't exactly seen equivalent to it. Was perhaps quite a while back. It's all essential for her own sexual satisfaction. Every last bit of it was control. Every last bit of it was attempting to fulfill her own requirements. She didn't actually mind who she was harming to fulfill. And despite the fact that at the hour of the sexual maltreatment, she was a hitched mother of 3, Delatorre says it might have bolted her to figure she probably won't get captured. Definitely. Well, listen, anyone is fit for anything whenever under any condition. Right, so we must comprehend that more abnormal risk isn't really something that we should be centered around. Generally, the maltreatment has been directed by somebody that was essentially a colleague of the person in question, so it's normal for somebody that is known to take part in these sorts of ways of behaving. We only sort of tune out. We believe that, well, since they have on the grounds that they're an instructor, since they're a relative, since they're a companion, that they're not equipped for doing these sorts of things. And I'm certain she put money on that. I'm certain she depended on the possibility that I'm a hitched educator. I have 3 children who will accept that I'm fit for this sort of stuff, which encouraged her to accomplish to an ever-increasing extent. And more Gazapans was at first captured in July of 2023, yet later delivered on B, and was prohibited to have unaided contact with any kid younger than 18 anyway. Quick forward to this year. She purportedly disregarded her bail conditions by over and over penetrating the states of her home repression. She even purportedly messaged one more previous understudy a day after he went 18 to wish him a cheerful birthday. No doubt that has returned to the impulsivity and the antisociality, right, that has returned to this. She realizes she's been authorized. She realizes she ought not be doing this yet. She will do it at any rate since she couldn't care less about what the results may be. She likewise can't prevent herself from doing the things that she only sort of maintains that should do. She needs to ensure that those associations remain so she can return and mishandle later. Examiners contended the circumstance fit her example of preparing an understudy for sex, and the adjudicator called her a threat to the local area, requesting her to go along or get secured. Be that as it may, last month, the appointed authority learned of numerous infringement, including stops at a shopping center and Applebee's. Her GPS observing supposedly showed she went to a cafe and bar on Staten Island instead of to a lush region, and when the appointed authority found she lied about her whereabouts, he made due on his commitment and put her in jail. Her charges convey a strong sentence with the most extreme discipline of life in the slammer, which the delator makes sense of could be proper in the event that she's not ready to stop herself. I mean, it truly sort of relies upon what a jury chooses. The seriousness of the results at last are for the person in question, and it's not exactly up for me to conclude whether something is proper or not. I think eventually what the populace needs to comprehend is that there are valuable open doors for restoration. Right, she totally can stop herself. The inquiry is, does she need to stop herself? And I think at last the proof is all going to influence the jury as to regarding the response to that inquiry on the off chance that they feel that she can stop herself. Perhaps life isn't required yet, in the event that they believe that she can't, and she's given them motivation to feel that she can't stop herself. Then perhaps life is something suitable, yet he encourages guardians to have the troublesome discussions with their youngsters about what's fitting and what's not. It's again one of these things that, as guardians, we want to invest more energy examining what is suitable and solid sexuality. Only forbearance won't get us to where we really want to go. At the point when we must have these discussions, these sorts of things occur. I realize it seems like it happens as a rule, yet actually they're presumably occurring at a similar rate they've forever been. It's simply being figured out more effectively on the grounds that individuals are putting it web-based, having discussions with their youngsters, and truly talking about what sorts of things occur and what sex ought to mean. All of that stuff, in a reasonable and formatively fitting way, can truly go quite far in forestalling a portion of these things. It's awkward discussing sex, and each local area has its own thoughts regarding what sex ought to be shown in school. Yet once more, the less we discuss it, the more weak we make our kids. Thus, to fortify our youngsters and give them the devices that they need to either keep the offense from occurring, connect with another educator or head, or contact guardians, then, at that point, we must discuss what sex implies in the present environment. Kaza Pons was captured once more and shipped off the government metropolitan detainment community in Brooklyn on April 15th. Whenever indicted, she faces a most extreme sentence of life in jail simply on the temptation of a minor charge and 30 years in jail on the kid porn charge, revealing regulation wrongdoing. Thank you so much for watching Gossip Now.